Hey, this is Scott at GottaGrowIt.com, and I'm thrilled that you're checking out my videos. Hey, I've got a passion. Well, I've got several passions on the things that I grow in the garden, but one of the things that I just cannot live without, with growing, is fresh basil. I mean, does it get any better than this? I was out earlier today before it started raining on us, and I harvested just a bunch of basil. In fact, I've already preserved a section of it. In fact, let me just show you really quick, okay? I'm going to go in my freezer and pull out a baggie and just show you what I've got here. So what I do is, actually, I've got a couple. Wow, this stuff's almost frozen now. So this is preserved basil in a baggie, all right? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. I use a little bit of olive oil and a lot of basil leaves, and I use my Vitamix. Wouldn't know what I would do without my Vitamix. I got to tell you, you could put rocks in a Vitamix, and if you run it long enough, it'll turn it into cream, But anyway, I put them in these baggies, and then I put them in my freezer. What I don't do is fill the baggie up. You can't really, I don't know if you can see how I've done this, but I keep the basil laying on its side, the baggie laying on its side in the freezer, so that way it's thin, so it's easy that when you're cooking and you need this, you can come in and break off a piece that you need and throw it right into your stew or sauce or soup or whatever it is that you're doing. But I can't wait to share this with you. What's really mind-blowing about all this stuff is that I wasn't raised to do this. I mean, this just like one day it happened. I just absolutely fell in love with gardening. As a kid, and I don't know what it was like for you, but as a kid, I mean, we ate a lot of stuff out of a can or out of a box. I remember, this is going back in the early 70s, I remember Hamburger Helper and stuff like that. It's just the way life was, at least for a lot of people that I knew in the neighborhood that I was brought up in. We didn't eat a whole lot of fresh stuff. And so when I finally grew up and left home, and when I got married, and we didn't really know how to cook. My wife was in the same kind of situation. We didn't really know how to cook, and we just sort of discovered maybe we can do this, maybe we can try that. Well, when we bought our first home back in 1987, I remember thinking, I want to get something in the soil. I want to grow something. So I guess there was always really a love, at least, there was something in me that always valued seeing things growing out of the soil, And, well, anyway, so we buy our house, and I remember being in the backyard the first summer that we were at this new home, and I remember looking over the fence of my neighbor, and I thought, and I peeked over, and I thought, wow, I saw the most beautiful garden that I've ever seen. It had everything, including basil. I mean, this lady and her husband, they were growing, stuff I didn't even know what it was. Some of the stuff I didn't even know what it was, but they had tomatoes and cucumbers and zucchini and basil and parsley and all kinds of things. And I thought, man, that's what I want. And so that summer, I remember getting a beefsteak tomato plant. It was the first plant that I had ever planted outside, a beefsteak. Those are those nice, really big slicing tomatoes. I love those kind of tomatoes. And I remember getting that into the ground. I essentially just dug a hole, put the plant in, and covered it up and thought, I can't wait to get my big old tomatoes. Well, it didn't happen that way. I remember I nursed this one tomato. That's all I got from this plant by the end of the summer. And it was kind of an oversized cherry tomato. That's about all it was. And man, I'm telling you, I was going to walk through this whole process with this plant, and I was going to eat that tomato no matter what, and I did. It wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be, but it was the beginning, stages for me to say, I want to start growing stuff. And I'm telling you, it was year after year after year of doing this that my palate broadened with all kinds of things that I want to eat. Basil, I crave this stuff. I gotta have basil all the time. And the other value with basil is this stuff is loaded with nutrition. I mean, there's medicinal value to the stuff that flows through these plants. This basil plant, it has high levels of vitamin K and vitamin A, and it's got vitamin C. It's all kinds of good stuff. You can't go wrong doing this. I wish you could smell this. I know, I'll put it up close. I don't know. Man, this is so good. Well, I want to show you how I do this, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take my leaves. I've already got some here in my little strainer. Run cold water for sure. You want to make sure the water's nice and cold. And I just sort of rinse this stuff down pretty good. You know, always good to double check that on the tops. Let me see if I can find one in here. That on the top pieces, like if you grab a piece of basil, you know, from the top, a lot of times if you let the plant go a little bit too long, you're going to see another stem that's going to come up between the two main leaves, and you may have a pod there. It's basically a flower pod that's going to start. You really would want to pull that off because that doesn't carry the flavor that the regular basil does. And so what you're going to do is you're going to give this a really good rinse. You can tell, look at this. You look inside that thing, I've already done a whole bunch of this basil. So I'm going to put my little Vitamix container here, kind of, you know, try to get some of that excess water off there. And we'll get that in there. Like that. Now you can see that kind of, you know, that kind of fills it up halfway. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another big chunk of this basil, of the basil leaves in there. We're going to fill up that blender. I just called it a blender. My Vitamix. We're going to fill that baby up. I'll show you exactly how I do this. You're going to be amazed. It's just so easy to do. And I'm telling you, the amount of basil that I have here right now, you know, and I know many of you, you know, you buy your own basil at the store. And by the way, this is organic basil. This isn't, you know, just the regular stuff that they're pumping up with who knows what. This is real, authentic, organic basil right out of my garden. I just picked it about 4 hours ago, okay? It doesn't get any better than this. So if you're buying organic basil, you can get a little, you know, section of it, a little, maybe I call it a bouquet of organic basil. You're going to pay $5 for it. Now, if you get the stuff that's been pumped up, you probably get that little bouquet of the basil for what? Maybe it's like $3.99 or something like that. Man, I gotta have $50 worth of basil here alone, just basil, and I'm gonna eat it all year long. That's why I'm excited, man. Okay, so we take the excess water off, get it right in there like that. Oh yeah, we're filling this thing up big time now. You know, I was thinking, $50 worth of basil? I may have $100 worth of basil. That's just the first round. That's just the first round, or my first harvest. I'm gonna continue to harvest this stuff all summer long. I will never be without basil. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that good news? Well, I guess it is for me anyway. Well, hopefully it is for you too. Grow some basil. Do exactly what I'm doing. Preserve it this way, and I'm telling you, you'll save so much money at the grocery store, number one. And number two, you're going to eat a whole lot healthier. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come over here and drizzle. Well, I'm going to do more than drizzle. I'm going to put, you know, some olive oil in there. I'm not going to overdo it. And it's going to take a little bit to get this to kind of work in. And you'll see what will happen. Now, what's cool with the Vitamix is they give you this nice little, you know, this black handle here. And all I'm going to do is, we're going to just put this on the lowest setting. I'm going to just let that do its thing. And I'll just kind of gently push it down in there. You don't want to overdo it. Just kind of gently let it grab the basil. I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah, look at that. It's all going in there pretty good. We'll just kind of let it get in there. And we're going to increase the speed here in just a little bit so we can get this into a really good paste. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're shooting for. While that's going, let me just show you this. So look at this. That is what we're doing. Life is good. Here we go. So I can still see a few more leaves in there. We'll kind of gently push those in there. And I'm going to increase the speed here just a little bit. Oh yeah, you can tell it's grabbing it. Here we go, and I'm going to increase. As you can tell, I mean, I did not really need to put a lot of olive oil in there. I probably, for the amount that I was working with, maybe did 3 tablespoons of olive. We got that in there, okay. Put the cover on. And I'm going to increase the speed little by little. On the Vitamix, it has 10 speeds. I'm going to go up to speed number 5. And look at that. It's just going to put that right into a paste. Look at how beautiful that is. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling here, but man, it is good. And that's about it. That's about it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll take, actually take this cover off. I got my bowl. I got my bowl right here because I've already been working on this, like I said, and we're just going to pour this. Look at this. Look at that. That's a lot of basil. A lot of basil. Look at that. Now I'm going to show you how to bag it and freeze it. You're not going to believe how easy this is to do. I open the baggie like so, just to kind of, you really want a good open mouth, right? A good open mouth and lip, the bottom lip hang in there like that. That'll help you a whole lot. By the way, I always carry an extra one of these little, you can tell I used it a little bit. That's not snot or anything like that. That's a little extra basil when I wiped up one of these baggies, okay? Anyway, so you keep that mouth nice and wide open. 3 teaspoons, 3 heaping teaspoons I drop in here. 1 and 2 and 3. See, not only do you learn how to do this stuff when you watch my videos, you even learn how to count with me. How's that? All right, so what I do is I start to zip this thing closed, but I leave the end open a little bit just so I can push that air out, and it does it so easily. And there you go. Now you can see I'm only got about 25% of that baggie is full, okay? And there it is. I kind of flatten that out a little bit. And there we go. I'll do one more here. Show you one more. Open that mouth up really good, just like so. And go 1, 2, look at that. 3. How easy is that? Zip it up. Leave the end open a little bit. Get the air out. See? There it is. All right, and so we got them done. Now it looks like I've got maybe 2 more baggies to do here, and I've got 1, 2, 3, look at that, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not all. 7, 8, 9. I got 9 baggies just from one day's harvest on 6 basil plants. That's a lot of stinking basil. That's a lot of money saved. That's a lot of health in a baggie. And I just take these babies and I lay them in the freezer, and we are ready to go. I'll be making stews, I'll be making sauces in February, and I'll pull out one of those baggies and I'll throw it in there. It'll be like fresh basil all over again. Hey, so thanks for checking out my videos. I don't know how to tell you how much it means to me that you would come back and check these things out. I'm hopeful that there was something today in talking about basil and looking at all this stuff that was helpful to you in some way. If it is, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that just below this video box that there's a subscribe button down there. There's also a like button. Anything you can do to click on those would absolutely mean so much to me if you would do that. Hey, thanks again for checking out these videos. Peace out.